Welcome, everybody, to the IDP Hunter podcast. I'm your host, IDP Hunter. Wanted to share something with you before we begin. Currently, right now on the ECR rankings, I am currently ranked number 2 in the contest for this week. So, exciting times if you guys, are fans of IDP, which is why you'd be here, right? So I'm number 2 on the week, and then season to date, that would put me 3rd overall. So if you guys have questions and you're in the chat, kindly let me know. Leave them here. We'll talk offense, we'll talk defense, we'll talk betting, in later segments. But I have a couple players that I want to talk about this show. I got a couple that I need to get off my chest. Your leagues may already had waivers. If they haven't had waivers already, you're in for a treat. If they did and you're streaming, then that happens too. But usually what I do when I'm having the show, what I'll do is I'll start with the offense, the quarterbacks. So let's go ahead, and since we're live and everything, we have Jamie in the chat. Let's go ahead and kick off the show with offensive quarterbacks. And Jamie, if you don't mind, can you talk about the leaders on the offensive side of the ball? What do you have at quarterback, my friend?
Yeah, sorry for being late. So quarterback, I'm going Geno Smith. He is my number one priority this week. I have him ranked at 14th overall. He bounced back in week 3. He's completing 65.5% of passes for 289 yards and 3 touchdowns. Outside of his week 2 dud, he's averaged 325.5 yards, 2 touchdowns, 21.8 fantasy points in his other starts. He's not a season-long answer, but a strong week 4 streamer right now. Chicago has allowed 22-plus fantasy points in the quarterbacks in 2 of the 3 games they played. So 100%, that's my number 1. Number 2, I'm going to go Carson Wentz. Wentz was efficient in his first start, 70% of completions. I know he only had 173 yards, but he had 2 touchdowns in just 20 attempts. Also, not a long-term answer with J.J. McCarthy possibly coming back soon, but Wentz is a solid QB2 this week. Pittsburgh's injured defense has allowed 260.3 yards, 1.7 touchdowns, and 21.5 fantasy points per game. He's going to be a high-end QB2 potential. And go get Jackson Dart. In a single quarterback league, he needs to be on your roster. He has tough matchups going forward, 5 out of the 6 games that he's going to play. But rushing ability sets him up for a nice floor in single quarterback leagues. He's got to be a must-add. Go with Sam Darnold if you're desperate. He averaged 55-plus yards, 2 touchdowns his last 2 games. Arizona just let Mac Jones put up 280-some yards and a touchdown. So if you want to start him on Thursday night, go right ahead and do it.
Jamie, question in the chat already about your Geno Smith take. They were asking who would you prefer, Geno Smith or Daniel Jones? And then the follow-up to it, Sam Darnold's been lighting it up. If you want to throw him in there, you agree, disagree? What you got, buddy?
Well, I just mentioned Sam Darnold. I think he could have a great week this week. But going to that Geno versus Darnold, Geno versus Daniel Jones. I mean, Daniel Jones is literally like the number 2 quarterback on the year, right? I have him at 12. Last week, I had him at 14?
Yeah. And then like the beginning of the year, you weren't sure. So like you're really warming up to Jones, huh?
Jones, I was all about week 1. I said he was going to light it up. Week 2 is when I wasn't sure because he was facing Denver, right? But then last week he lit it up again. I think you have to go Daniel Jones because I have him at 12, and what was the other? Geno is at 14. So I would go Jones over Geno, but it's super close, man. So where are we at? We're on quarterbacks. I think I named all my streamers, and obviously Jackson Dart as a stash.
Okay.
But some sits real quick. You need to sit Stafford. He was off to a slow start, 14 points in 2 of his 3 games. It's horrible. He's averaging 14.9 points. Even with that game this week, that's 48.5 over under versus the Colts. Like, their defense has held quarterbacks on average under 14 points a game. So you have to sit Stafford. I'm also sitting Dak right now without Lamb. And people outside my top 20, Bryce Young, Jared Goff versus Cleveland. Lawrence is struggling. Stroud is struggling. Rodgers, I'm not starting. And Tua versus the Jets, hell no. Cam Ward versus Texans, I'm out. And that's it for me.
Okay, moving on to defensive line. It's a great week for defensive tackles. It really is. You guys have heard us talk about the Byron Youngs. You've heard us talk about the Leonard Williamses out there. There's a guy, Wyatt of the Packers. Some people may or may not be aware of it, but he's starting the show. This is a player you can play in almost any defensive tackle required format. Milton Williams of the Patriots used to play with the Eagles. Jamie, I don't know if you remember our 32-team league. People were like, when I traded Milton Williams, they're like, who's Milton Williams? I'm like, he's got really good metrics. And the Patriots paid him a payday. And it just so happens now you're starting to see it. He's got 2 sacks season. He's got a pass rush metrics of 77.8 amongst defensive tackles or interior linemen, if you will. That ranks 14th out of 172 players. It's not the best at run defense, but he's the best that this team got. So Wyatt, Milton Williams, you can start them comfortably everywhere. You want to go mid leagues? I'm looking at Cam Jordan, who's typically an edge, but if he's playing defensive tackle interior right now. If you're in MFL leagues, you can get away with playing him. And then here's two deep ones for you. Jordan Davis went off this week. He really did, with all his impact plays. Don't expect that every week, but his baseline's about a good 5 tackles a game. And Jamie, in the 32-team league that we play in, I'm pretty proud of this. I just knocked off the number 1 team in the NFC East. Chris Judge, this team. I knocked it off. I was bragging. What I did was I picked Derek Barnes up off of waivers. He's a nobody. He's a deep shot. Derek Barnes in Sleeper, this is genius. Derek Barnes in Sleeper has linebacker DL eligibility. He's a strong side linebacker, so he doesn't really do much for you as a linebacker. He only gets 70% of snaps. He's a strong side. He comes out when there's a tight end, what have you, right? But if you snap him in on your roster as a DL, that's 70% from a DL playing linebacker. He averages about 6 tackles a game. That's a sweet spot. So for that matchup, I only needed 6 or 7 more tackles, and I felt strong about it. I ended up pulling it out because of Derek Barnes. So that's a really, really super, super deep one you can got. And again, I started with defensive tackles because I don't have a lot for edge. These are mostly repeats. Gary. If Gary's on waivers, I don't know what we're doing because Gary is leading the NFL in sacks right now. He doesn't give you much for tackles, but you'll have something with Gary. Nick Herbig is the story. You guys can keep playing Nick Herbig as long as Highsmith's out. So feel free to play Herbig. For those that don't know who Herbig is, Herbig was his rookie season, or actually coming out of college, he was a top 10 pass rusher. He had that kind of pedigree. Really good ranked coming out of college. We did the profiles over at the Fancy Six Pack, me and Jamie. Constantly talked about. Last season, he blew up PFF, 91.5 pass rusher grade. Ended up getting 2.5 sacks in 6 games. Highsmith missed, and Highsmith's missing now. So the 2 points I want to make with Herbig, if you're a guy like me who lost Nick Bosa this week and you're looking for elite DLs, this guy's buried. I think he's Fantasy Pros like DL 30-something. You can pick him up out of nowhere. He's a good play. And Jamie, Alex Highsmith has been dropped a lot of places that we play in. I'll probably end up picking him up too. So those are my, strong middle leagues. If you got deeper leagues, Dorrance Armstrong of the Commanders is the only edge that's going to get a lot of snaps. Reddick's been getting a lot of good run, and you already know the Deo Odegbo name. You love singing Deo. Don't make me sing.
Yeah. Deo.
You're good at that one. But yeah, that's really it for Edge. That's all I really have. There was a question in the chat. Let me make sure I get these.
I think that's for you, brother. There you go.
Yeah, hold on. Hey, he doesn't like it when we call them monkeys. He doesn't like that on the show. He wants
the infinite number of monkeys is way better
he's like,
name
hey,
than
call
Larry
me
wants
real
us to
name.
call him.
Well, I'm gonna call me by my birth certificate. I'm gonna call you infinite number of monkey. No, but kid. But he's like, "What's up, guys? I'm awake." He missed last week. He kind of missed the show. Well, hopefully you enjoy it. And like I said, feel free to ask questions. It's an interactive show. We're having fun doing this. I got one right now. I thought was neat. Going back to the level. Level's been awfully chatty. I can use you on nights like this when I don't have any coffee. He's asking about Latu. He's asking about Cooper, Jonathan Cooper. He's asking about Dorrance Armstrong. This is a neat question. If you look at Latu right now, he started off pretty good, but if you look at him right now, he's losing snaps left and right. I think he only had 53% of snaps this week. So be careful with Latu. I'd stay away from him until the momentum shifts. He keeps going. Armstrong's a sneaky one for deep leagues. Like I said, he's more of a volume-based guy. Nothing really sticks out for me. But if you were asking me to rank those guys, I'd go Jonathan Cooper first. I'd go Armstrong second. I'd go Latu on a last-ditch effort, which I wouldn't play right now. Cooper ranges between 60-65% of snaps each week, average. I think he had 59 this week, but it's an average of 60-65, which is what you want out of a defensive lineman. I don't know if you guys know, that's my metrics. I look for 60-65. Anything over that, I'll play you great. But guys like Max Crosby and them, they don't grow on trees. If you're getting 90% snap share at defensive lineman, you're probably heading towards an injury. So 60-65, someone smarter than me, I think it was Sports Information Systems, did the math, did the homework. That's usually where you're getting maximum value. And again, Cooper has 2 sacks in 3 games. So if you want snaps here, not too high, not too low, that's your guy for me. That's the guy I'm interested in regards to this. That's how I rank him. Yeah. As a Bosa replace. Oh, wait. Okay, here's another question. What do you guys think of Bryce Huff?
Bryce Huff as a Bosa replacement.
So
that's a question for you, Steve.
Yeah, we did that on the Fancy and Frame show too. We know who Huff is as a player. He's a pass rusher, not really good as a run defender. I think he's gonna get a shot. I don't rush to get Huff off of any waivers. And this was his question. Hey, what about in deeper leagues? Yeah, you can take a shot, but I don't rush to get these guys. I want to see the snaps before I do, if that makes sense. I had the same question about Jack Giddens, which I'll answer here. Yeah, I see the push. I see the value, but I'm not going to make the move until he starts hitting that 40-50% thresh mark. So I'm not really interested. This is, remember him, Jamie? This is epic.
Dude, we look for you. You're awesome, bro.
He spelled it epic. He's on the Fancy Frame show. Dude, I was looking for you last week.
We were.
I was trying to give you the Discord, so we're gonna put it in the description. You can follow us on the IDP Center Discord as well. Yeah, we were looking last week. Jamie, you said he'd be back. I'm like, okay.
I know he would be back. It was awesome.
But yeah, you guys would be an excellent candidate. Infinite Number Monkeys is in there. Aiden's in there. We're always in the IDP Center chat. We're always in there talking about random stuff, whether it's offense, whether it's defense. So go ahead and check us out. That's all I have on defense, unless you guys have questions. I'm going to kick it right back over to Jamie.
Yeah, we're going to talk about some running backs off waivers, man. Go get Cedric. I was thinking Cedric Benson, but go get Trey Benson. The dude should be owned in every single league, 100% owned. Like, he's still out there in a few, and he needs to be your number one ad. He's going to see that workload. But in most leagues that we play in, he's not available. He was already stashed. So look for Jeremy McNichols and Chris Rodriguez, because McNichols had one of Week 3's top highlights. He had a 60-yard touchdown run, and it definitely boosted the case for him getting more work going forward. Like, he dominated those passing situations. He's playing 86% of those long down snaps and definitely in there for every single one of those 2-minute drill offense. So that makes him a PPR option. I don't remember. I think I did bring him up last week as a pickup before he even played a snap. Then you got Rodriguez. He started week 3 taking the first 4 carries. He had a 39% snap share, and he led in carries. So Ja'Cory Crossy Merritt, Mr. Bill, matched those snaps, and he actually had a smaller carry share. Rodriguez doesn't catch passes, but there's a path for him to actually get 10 plus carries a game. And then if you're in deeper leagues, go look for Woody Marks, because his role increased last week. He was splitting snaps with Nick Chubb. Joe Mixon still without a timeline to return. There's a chance he might miss all of 2025. We don't know, which would only add to Woody Marks' long season value. Then you have Ollie Gordon. He locked up that Miami's backfield as the number 2 running back. Jalen Wright, he suited up last week, but he didn't play. Ollie Gordon saw 13 snaps, handled all the short yardage and the goal line work. And he actually scored from 2 yards out. So when they get to the goal line, they're putting in Ollie Gordon. He's 38 pounds heavier than A-Chain. He's that power back in that offense to keep A-Chain fresh. So with A-Chain on the field 82% of the time right now, Gordon isn't really startable yet, but he is a clear handcuff, and we'll start seeing more work. And then deep leagues. Let's go to Hassan Haskin. Now with Najee Harris out for the season, he should be the direct backup to Hampton. And then another handcuff to consider, Blake Corum. He's actually seen the field with limited snaps. He's been pretty efficient with those limited snaps, getting 1.22 points per opportunity, which is number 3 in the league for running backs. That's compared to Kyron getting 0.7 points per opportunity, which is 40th amongst running backs. So stash him now for free. We all see that he's the more efficient back, and if something happens to Kyron, they're going to give Corum the full workload. Finally, Tyjae Spears, he's eligible to return, I believe, week 5. So if you have an extra roster spot on the end of your bench, pick him up now for free so you don't have to pay for him next week. That's Tyjae Spears returning week 5. And that's all I got.
Jamie, questions in the chat. I almost said all garbage. It's Allie garbage. Allie garbage.
Allie's
says,
my girl. Love Allie.
Okay.
I'm in leagues with her. She's amazing.
She said she appreciates the show. It's got to be you because I don't know Allie. But Allie, feel free to join our Discord. It's a free Discord. And like I said, if y'all are interested in the IDP Center has trade calculators for this kind of thing. They got writers. Jamie, you're writing over there too. You're a talented writer. What are you writing over there right now?
I can't be a talented writer. I like to dabble in the off season, do those evergreen.
What is the article though?
I have an article that I've been working on about trash talking and how to actually trash talk without being an asshole.
Hey, 2 more questions for you. That's a lot to take in. We'll revisit that another day. That's great. But yeah, just feel free. Like I said, it's all we are is an extension of each other. I know it says IDP on it, but we got a lot of more offensive writers than we do IDP in the universe. So this is just a way to connect this. Hey, Original Termite 357, Benson or Walker? How strong do you feel about Benson? I guess that comes down to.
Rest of the season, I love Trey Benson. He is the number 1. He's going to get the majority of the snaps, right? Now, if you're asking just for this week, you start Walker.
Yeah.
I'll talk about him a little bit later. I got some bets that I'm going to drop. So start Walker this week, actually it's the same game. I have a bet for Benson telling you not to start him over Walker, and you'll see why in a little bit. But rest of the season, Give me Benson. That might sound crazy, but he's not going to share a backfield. I'm not worried about DiCamato, whoever else is behind him. Walker still has Charbonnet when he's healthy that is going to split work with them. I know Walker is efficient and he's explosive, but week-to-week basis, you're going to want to start Benson.
And then we have another question.
Woody Marks or Giddens. Here is the thing. Woody Marks, if you need someone now to put up some points in your flex, go ahead and grab Woody Marks because he's going to give you more points than Giddens because Giddens is a direct backup and he ain't getting work unless it's a blowout game or Jonathan Taylor gets hurt. But if Jonathan Taylor gets hurt, Giddens is a league winner. So I would actually rather pick up Giddens, stash him on my bench just in case, there is an injury when because you're going to start him every week as an high-end RB2 that could possibly put up top 12 numbers. Woody Marks is just a guy that's going to get you points right now.
So Jamie, question for you, maybe off topic. Whenever I'm doing like my waivers or my streams, this is usually like I have a threshold. I usually say defense under 33% owned. Like I've seen shows where they do like 50 or something ridiculous. Do you have a threshold like that? What do you do?
I play in all deeper leagues, but we also
too.
have to account that there's listeners right now playing in start 7, 10 team.
Right.
15 total roster spots. So I like to go, just like I said, Benson should already be owned. But in a ESPN league, he's not owned. You need to go pick him up. So the threshold for me is probably like 40 to 50%.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, okay. I was just wondering what you do because like everything that I justify, because I justify 33%. And then, once I get in there, I'll do, I'll go whatever. Hey, somebody asked about Greg Rousseau and I missed it earlier.
I love Rousseau.
Yeah, but you got to watch. Be careful right now. I'm actually putting him just for the moment. He hasn't had anything. He's only had 5 tackles in 3 games, and that's really telling. He's not getting the snap count he usually does. I think he had a half a sack in 1 game. So I wouldn't drop him outright, but I'd put him on my bench until we figure out that situation a little bit better. We're starting to get the numbers in IDP a little bit. It's telling. So for me, I'm going to go to linebacker if you're cool with that.
I'll be right back.
Okay, I'm going to talk linebacker to myself here, to the audience. There's players, and again, I kind of go 33%. And right now, Mac Wilson's on that line of 30%. If you don't know who Mac Wilson is, you're probably not paying attention to your leagues much. He's a historic outside linebacker. This year, they moved him in. They fooled around with a lot of players with the green dot in the offseason. In the preseason, Cody Barton could not tackle very well. So he's a project in the making. He'll be a machine later on, maybe later in the year. And then we have Akeem Davis-Gator. He can't cover. So Mac Wilson was the obvious choice. So he's paying off for the owners that have him and start him. I'm going to tell you to pick him up if he is by chance out there for some reason. He's top 10 right now in total tackles. If you look at the list, it's usually your elite name brand guys, and then he's in there, top 10. As far as solos go, he's got 14. That's tied for 30th, so that's very decent as well. And then the box snap usage, I'm a big believer on box snaps. That's kind of where I, if a player's positioned well enough, that's where I'm going to go with it. Box snap usage out of a total of 160 snaps, Wilson's been getting 147 in that sweet spot. So he's a guy I want. There's some guys due to injuries, and I've said these on the last podcast, so I don't want to spend a lot of time on them. Wilson of the Vikings, he's been a journeyman, but he's covering down for Cashman. But be careful with that because Ivan Pace kind of edged him out this week. And then Sewell, I'm starting Sewell just about everywhere that I can get away with it. Because, again, he's that traditional linebacker. he's getting yourself those points that somebody else wouldn't have got. And then I'll tell you what, as an LB2 now, in those mid leagues too, I can get away with playing Devin Bush right now. Devin Bush has been really, really phenomenal. So moving down the chart a little bit, going to like those middle leagues, we start looking at LB2 positions. LB2, Teddy Buchanan. If you guys haven't noticed, Teddy Buchanan's been commanding a lot of playing time recently. He's the clear, far and away. He's the clear LB2. He's pushed away, the other guy there. So 94% of snaps. That's a huge jump from 82 and 34 last week. He played, you ready for this, guys? A whopping 50 snaps in the box, and he produced 8 tackles. So expect bigger things out of him. D. Winters is another guy, too. People worry. He's the opposite of Teddy. People worry about his tackle percentage. He's been doing okay. Where he's valuable as an LB2 is he's a really good coverage guy. He's really good in coverage, which, by the way, brings me back to Mac Wilson. Mac Wilson is really good in coverage, too. Whenever you have players like D. Winters and Mac Wilson and they can cover, they're going to stay on the field. And just in case you guys didn't know that, Wilson is one of the – he's actually settling in, and he's leading he's one of the top players at that position as far as coverage goes. I'll give you a couple more names we talked about. I talked about Werner in previous shows. Be careful. His snaps are dipping. So he's not an every down player. He's more of a flex I can get away with in leagues. We're going to go a little deeper. Just stuff I want you guys to pay attention to. Jack Giddens, who's a player that I like, he's actually been getting those LB2 snaps as of this week over Christian Ellis. But just be careful of that. That can go back and forth. I like Giddens as a prospect. I'm not jumping. And that answered Infinite's question earlier, Infinite Number of Meggies, when Jeff was talking. I don't jump on players until I see the snap percentage. I have friends of mine, they'll take shots at this guy's only getting 20% snaps, but he's getting a sack. I'm not going to do that to myself. I want to have I'm rigid. I want to have a certain threshold. Until I see those numbers jump, I'm not taking them. Same thing in these deeper leagues with Kaiser White. Kaiser White outplayed Cedric Gray. So if this was a fade show, Jamie, I would probably be fading Cedric Gray right now because Kaiser White saw 20% of snaps, 35% increase, and netted 3 tackles. It's funny when you look at the Titans linebacker room in these deeper formats. Cody Barton got 50-plus snaps. Kaiser White got 35. If they just would be one player together, they'd be an LB2. But either one right now I'm kind of off of. I don't want nothing to do with. I want the Cody Bartons of the world. I want the D. Winters. I want the Devin Bushes, the Teddy Buchanans, the Mac Wilson, to some degree to Pete Warners. I'm going to give you one because there's deep leagues there's deep leagues like Jamie playing. Drake Thomas, he came in. This may be a thing. Honestly, it's a little too early to tell, so I'm not quite sure. Here's Jeff again. Grabbing up Teddy Buchanan everywhere. I love that.
There you go. Good move. Good move.
If the snaps are there, guys, that's a little cheat. I will do it. I will definitely do it. The other question back was, is Devin Bush or Devin White for real? I think this is funny, Jamie, because when I have a 17-year-old dynasty league now, and I ended up with the Devin White, Devin Bush when they were rookies scenario. Which one's going to be the guy? And everybody liked Devin White. Everyone liked Devin Bush. So it's funny the two Devins come up here again. Devin White's getting volume. He's the guy until he isn't. I do suspect week 12, week 13, something like that, he'll end up getting yanked at some point. But right now, the wheels are going. You keep him. I want to talk about Devin Bush to you guys for a second. He's doing it. And I've said it on other shows, so I don't want to repeat myself. But I did a tweet the other day, Jamie. Devin Bush is on point in an 18-game season. You ready for this? For 130 tackles, 6 sacks, and 6 forced fumbles. If he keeps this pace up, that's some hell of a good LB2 numbers for your leagues. Any thoughts there? I do have one more question. Any thoughts there?
I mean, I'm all on the Devin White side, so yeah.
Yeah, and then the question from Badger, I guess is the rest of the season question. Would I drop Rosenboom for Devin Bush? That's kind of interesting.
No, he wants to drop Devin Bush for Rosenboom.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry, I said it wrong. A little dyslexia there. I would pick up Rosenboom because
100%.
Yeah, I mean it's just common sense. It's a simple, process elimination. He doesn't have anybody to contend with. It's so bad with the Panthers right now. They don't have much of a pass rush. They really don't have any linebackers, so much so they're bringing Morig down in a box, and he's leading the league. So, yeah, you go ahead and pick up Rosenboom. I actually got him as a top 25, top 28 rest of the season linebacker. That's excellent. Bush and Werner are guys more on the flex. That's why I kind of broke it down. I broke it down, shallow leagues, mid leagues, deep leagues. But those are the players I'm looking at. I don't have much more at linebacker. Usually that's how I draft. I get the elite guys, and then, you scoop up these injury guys later. There is a situation in deeper leagues. The Jets got a Quincy Wilson injury. We got some injuries going on. It's too early for me to call without any certainty. I like that Marcelio McCraley Ball, whatever his name is, but he's on injury reserve for hamstring now. So I have no idea who the LB2 is going to be there. They signed a guy named Mark Robinson from the Patriots practice squad. They got a guy named Cam Jones. They just picked off of waivers. I have no idea. You got to give me, and I was thinking in the chat they were gonna ask me that question. You got to give me a week or two till I figure that out. That's it. I think we're all caught up, Jamie. I'll kick it back to you, pun intended, for the offense.
Yeah, we're going to talk about some wide receivers. And we just talked about roster percentages and deep leagues compared to shallow leagues. So this guy is owned in 56% of my sleeper leagues. But across the board, I'm only seeing him in like the other ESPN shallow leagues, 26% owned. And that's Alec Ayomanor. This is going to be the last time that I mention him because I've talked about him, I believe, in every single show that we've had on IDP Center. He has to be owned. He is a legit wide receiver 3 or flex play every single week. After this week, he has a very nice schedule going forward. We've seen his target share. It keeps increasing. So go grab the Canadian catching Canuck right now before it's too late.
How's that for a name?
Yeah. So next, I want to talk about Trey Tucker. He had a huge game last week, right? His breakout wide receiver number 1 finish overall in week 3. Like his price is going to spike, but his role is actually pretty real. I looked into it. He played over 90% of snaps in all 3 games. He had 20 targets, has 211 yards, which is 16th overall, and is tied for number 1 in touchdowns with 4 touchdowns. And this is on a struggling Raiders offense. So still, Jacoby Myers will lead in first reads and target rate, but Trey Tucker is worth a solid ad right now. And then I want to go with Luther Burden. He went from 1.2 PPR points in 2 games to 18.3 last week versus Dallas. So he'll draw some real buzz, but we all know Dallas's defense is horrible. They're giving up the league high points to wide receivers, and Burden only played 29% of snaps. He hasn't topped 18 snaps yet and is still the Bears' number 4 wide receiver, but I think he's worth a stash. Like, only if you could be patient with him, because he's going to break out. That high that everyone talks about is going to decrease, and I think going forward, Luther Burden can get more targets going forward. Now, this is the guy, Tyquan Thornton, man. Is he really still on your waivers? Yes, he is. He's only owned in 7% of leagues or fewer. I looked today after waivers went through last night, and it's only up to 10%. The first 2 weeks, he ran 75% of the snaps. And after week 2, when he got that touchdown, he should have been on your radar. Last week, he got 9 targets and another touchdown. So Thornton is a true field stretcher, and Patrick Mahomes is going to keep finding him deep. So go grab him now before it's too late. And honestly, that's all I really seen off of waivers that I could say to go pick up. Do we have any more questions in the chat?
Yeah, we have a ton actually. Hold on, let me get them to you, buddy. So we had hold on. So the first one was, we got hit up in the chat. We were talking. So the first one was, am I dropping Josh Downs?
I think you can, depending on who you're dropping him for. So drop it in the chat. Who's top of the waivers? I think we got to be more patient with Downs. I'm worried about him because I know Danny Dimes used to love to throw in the middle of the field, those short intermediate routes, which Josh Downs excels at. But you have Tyler Warren, who is taking those targets away from him that plays the same exact type of role. And we've seen Danny Dollars throw deep more, which he normally doesn't do, which that helps Alec Pierce, which he's injured right now. So AD Mitchell could be a sneaky play. I wouldn't start him, but if you're in like a deeper best ball league with waivers, maybe add him just in case. But Josh Downs, I don't know, man. I'm not a big fan. I was a big fan, but now I'm not.
Makes sense.
Golden the wide receiver to own? Here's the thing. So it depends on matchups. I'm going to talk about Golden in my bets this week, so stay tuned. It's going to be a week-to-week thing because Christian Watson ain't going to come back until way later in the year. Jaden Reed's going to be out. So we got Tucker Kraft that was a little bit banged up, but he's still on the field. So I do want to own Golden.
Gotcha. I got one more for you.
Luther or Rome?
Who's the real one?
They are
the real ones. 86.
They
are both to know the real ones.
They are both real, dude. I can't wait till we get JT Brew on this show.
Yeah,
we all know him. He was the one that got me hyped on Luther Burden. He is a huge college scout, right? He loved Luther Burden and literally said Luther Burden is a better wide receiver than Rome. And if they were both in last year's class, he would have took Luther Burden over Rome. Now that they're on the same team, you have to look at the pie. They both play different positions. Eventually, when it goes further into the year,
JT's in the chat, brother. And we're going to get JT on the show.
That's what we're talking about, boy. Let's do it with JT Brew.
Let's just ask him in the chat what week he wants to come on.
Got me hyped on Luther Burden.
Sweet.
They schemed up plays last week for Luther Burden, and you saw what he did. Imagine him having a full-time role in that offense. I think I remember JT saying, like, with the new offensive coordinator coming over from the Lions, that you saw what they did with Jamison Williams scheming up plays. It's going to be the same thing with Luther Burden. It's only week 3, guys. We're going to see it more. So go buy Luther Burden right now. I literally just said in my wide receiver streamers and stashes to take Luther Burden. Like, there's a reason he only had 1.2 PPR points in the first 2 weeks. And then he went from 18.3, only seeing 29% of the snaps. It's going to be real. He also said, I had people trying to give up on Burden early, and I told everyone to hold him for a couple more weeks. Don't give up too soon. 100% agree with you, brother. JT Brew, you are a smart man. I wouldn't be the analyst I am without your knowledge that you drop all off season.
Well, JT holds up DLF over there. He knows these dynasty rankings like the back of his hand. And yeah, JT doesn't know yet, but yeah, we're gonna invite him on the show. We're gonna start doing guests for people that don't know from like weeks 4 onward. We got a lineup coming in. So yeah, whenever you're free, we'll talk offline for sure. Jamie, I think you had one more. No, it's a repeat. It's the same question.
Yeah, no, we're good. Okay. We can move on to your IDP.
Okay, excellent. I had one that I missed earlier. Where was that? Hold on a second. I got the Bush Rosenboom one. Thoughts on Bernard? Oh, here it is. Okay, so this is a little bit a while ago. Thoughts on Bernard and if I should pick up Dorian Williams. I thought this was a good question too, because there are some jackassery right now going on. I've heard other shows or articles saying pick up Dorian Williams. I'm not doing that for the casual fan. He only got 75% snaps, 6 tackles. That's not a full-time role, guys. Most of your leagues, 90% of leagues out there, you need to have, my threshold is 90% or above. You need to have those 3 down type of players. It's not enough squeeze for the juice. He's not trustworthy right now. I get it, Milano's hurt. Shaq Thompson, the same thing, just 34% of snaps. He posted 6 tackles, so he's making do. So the argument for I guess high roll gambler types, 28%, 0.6 tackle rate. Shaq Thompson had, okay, great usage, but I don't want it. I can find 80, 90% guys somewhere, even in the deepest of leagues. Now, what did I say? All that LB2 usage of the Bills, it's garbage time, right? That's great news for Terrell Bernard moving forward, because that wasn't the case when Milano was in the lineups. Bernard was struggling a little bit, right? But Bernard right now, on the other hand, he's getting damn near close to an every down linebacker role. So I'm kind of excited on what Bernard can do. What did he do? I'm just pulling up some numbers right now. He logged 46 box snaps, and he stepped up for another 30 that we saw. So he's getting really good usage. Yeah, I am all in on Bernard still. I don't care. If you can get him off an owner that was struggling earlier in the year, another thing, Jamie, and JT would tell you too, some of these folks, man, they panic way too quick. The first couple weeks of the season, I'm trying to hold my breath. I'm trying to draw even, to be honest. I'm trying to draw even because it gets scary down, without any analytics. I mean, we really don't know their guesses. We're starting to get numbers on these people. So I'm going to use those numbers I just share against most people, and I will go ahead and I will trade for Bernard. I got too many people in my name. I'm trying to keep up with this chat. It's been popping, my friend. Jamie Perogue says, I know that guy. The stew with JT Brew, if you say his name, he'll come out like Beetlejuice or like Candyman. And then he asked about Giddens or Milano. Who do you want between those 3? Super limited LB. Rough. Yeah, we had this talk on Fantasy Frames. Is Giddens like a must add? He's not a must add, but I would in that case, and I would in deep leagues, because I think Giddens gets the role. I'm just close to the vest with my IDP. With most of my teams that I have, you guys have played with me. You guys know I load up on offense. I have all this offense. I have taxi squad load offense. My defense is a skeleton crew of guys that are getting high snap counts. So I think out of that, I want Giddens. I think I'm caught up in the chat, so I'm going to go to my final category, defensive backs. Defensive backs, they're mostly punts, right? I'm not going to spend any time here on Tyke Smith or Connor of the Chiefs, because we did that on other shows. We did. For just those basic leagues, I've been taxi stashing Xavier Watts. I've been doing it everywhere. If you look at the last couple weeks, Xavier Watts has been siphoning on Jesse Bates snaps. He actually got 49.1% in the box. Jesse Bates, who everybody had to take as like a top defensive back, I think he was like DB11 in Fantasy Pros. I'm actually fading him this week because Xavier Watts is getting that deep play and he's getting that box play. For Jesse Bates to succeed, he needs all that extra turnaround, all that extra stuff. I think I said on the other podcast, if Jesse Bates was a drink, he'd be all foam, no substance. He'd be like froth. So I thought that was kind of a funny take. So Xavier Watts for me is doing everything I kind of want him to be as a rookie. He's doing coverage. He's doing a need in that little sector. So yeah, just by comparison, that's a guy I'm following. Josh Metellus, if he's out there, the idea is that Harrison Smith comes back. Yeah, Harrison Smith. Well, Metellus was kind of a little bit struggling in the beginning. The idea was if Harrison Smith comes back, Metellus can go back to the box, and he did. He got 92% of his snaps, and 34 of them were in the box. He got a good 16 snaps in the box. You can treat him like a third linebacker. I've talked Grant Delpit a billion times, but for some reason he's owned a lot of places, not owned in a lot of places. He's getting that box usage. Here's one for middle leagues for you guys. You guys know who Marcus Siegel is of the 49ers? He's a rookie. He ended up shocking everybody by getting the job over Jair Brown. When he got there, he actually has been the guy in the box. He's been playing really good. He's played every single snap in all 3 games. How's that for durable? Those are the kind of players I look for. 100% all 3 games, 18 tackles, a fumble recovery. For those that weren't with us on the Fantasy Six Pack, when we profiled him for his draft, for the draft article. He consistently ranked as one of his team's top tacklers at Kansas State. He's more of an attack guy, see ball, get ball. He plays close to the line of scrimmage. If you watch film on him, he's pretty good. And then right now, if you look at tape, for the 49ers, he's exceptionally probably their best defensive back tackler. But I think that's the problem. I had Jason Pinnock previously on this list. I really think that Penix is going to get pulled because that whole secondary back there, they're letting Marvin Harrison dink and dunk on them. But you know what I mean? They got lucky on some plays and some drops, what have you. But I think Penix is going to end up getting pulled. And I think for your deeper plays, look for Malik Mustafa. I think he gets back in, and I think he ends up taking back his role. For deeper leagues, you can get him. You can also get guys like Amani Hooker. People forget how great the box snap usage is out of him. If you want to go deep leagues, that's probably the only place where I'll play free safeties. There's guys like, there's guys deep you can get. Here's another deep one for you. The Redskins lost Will Harris, the safety. So right now, Jeremy Reeves, who's known as an all-pro special teamer, he's got the notch on the job. He ended up playing a lot of good box snap usage last week. However, they just signed Darnell Savage. Darnell Savage worries me because he traditionally is just a free body back there. The Jaguars dumped him, so that should tell you something. All of that, I only consider him in the deepest of deep leagues because they're replacing Will Harris, who really hasn't done anything for the Commanders except for like maybe 4 or 5 tackles a game if you average it. I'll hit really quick cornerback required leagues. There's a couple interesting tidbits here that I want you guys to pay attention to. We're going to go to Jaguars. Jamie, I don't know if you noticed, Travis Hunter got more snaps on defense than he did.
That's crazy.
Yeah. It's starting to come around as true. Travis Hunter got 43 defensive snaps to his 37 offense. It's not nothing I'm going to play. I'm not. I mean, he recorded, 6 tackles, but it's still something. He's getting played. The player you do want is the other cornerback. His name's Jordan Lewis. Epic asked that in last week's episode about Jordan Lewis, which I thought was a smart question. He's one of the league's top cornerbacks, not named Travis Hunter. So you can probably exploit, not the name value. The first 3 games, he's recorded multiple interceptions in that span. And he's actually really good at covering. He only allowed 14 receptions off 22 targets. You know about that shadow coverage, Jamie. Quarterbacks targeting him, it's less than 42.6 a game. So Jordan Lewis is a guy you can get. What's his name of the Zion McClendon of the Tampa Bay Bucks? He's only owned in 17%. That's a CB required league. He doesn't make splash plays like Lewis, but he's a tackler. He's got 24 tackles in 3 games. I like Billy Bowman as a prospect. And then I like Daxton Hill because not all cornerbacks come in shapes and sizes. This is my last one, Jamie. Daxton Hill gets picked on all the darn time, and people know it. When he plays in the slot, he's a good value. When he plays outside, he's not. Right now, currently, he's playing the slot, so you can get him just because of what he represents. There was a Viking player, Isaiah Rodgers. He just destroyed this week. I don't know if you watched Red Zone. I don't track big play scoring, but if you're in a deep league, you can take a shot with him, see what happens the following weeks. I was telling JT on the other show, Jamie, I had Isaiah Rodgers on a best ball league because earlier this year he was supposed to play special teams. So I had him in deep leagues. And I got away with a big week this week off a bench player I never thought would happen. Hey, Epic said Lewis is the GOAT. That we already know, So I think I'm caught up, man.
Yeah, I want to hit up on Travis Hunter real quick because people were hyping him up so much to be the whole cheat code and IDP. But can you really even play him in your DB spot? No, you can't. Can you really play him in a wide receiver spot? Hell no, not right now. I'm benching him in a dynasty league where I took him at 102. I think you took Genty that league in 101, and I was like, "Oh, you're leaving me with the cheat code." And I'm looking at it now. I'm like, this dude isn't getting enough work on both sides of the ball to even be worth to put in my DB spot. I'd rather start a different DB every week over Travis Hunter.
So
what are we doing with him, man?
So I'm going to push back. Back slightly. So context matters, right? If you're in an MFL league like I play, he only gets the CB eligibility. I can't use him. He's done. If I'm in a deep sleeper league, I can't use him. He's done. If I'm in a ESPN league where they only give you the defensive scoring, he's done. But in sleeper formats, in those little tiny ones, and this is what JT just said, he's a smart man. In those little tiny ones, I have one league where you start DL, LB, DB. Jeff has a couple of those. I can cheat code, put him in there because, a 3-reception, 40-yard week. That's probably a top 15 finish where I can get away with it. JT said the same thing. Hunter has to be set at wide receiver if you're going to get any value out of him. But it's got to be those tiny, tiny formats. And then JT, again, great minds think alike. He's talking about Rodgers. Rodgers scored him the Vikings scored him a whopping 45 points in RSO leagues, and it won him the week. I'm very similar with those best balls. That's why I like best balls. I don't have to worry about it. It's easy cleanup.
I mean, Hunter scored 13, 11, and 10 points his first 3 weeks, right? So I have DBs that are scoring more than that on my bench.
Yeah, so your context matters. So,
Brian Branch, 20-plus points in week 2.
Mm-hmm. But if he ends up getting a fluke touchdown or something, you're gonna get value out of it. So you just gotta look at your settings. Is your pass deflections worth more than receptions? So again, context matters.
You recommend him playing in the wide receiver spot over the DB spot?
DB because DB's so yeah. DB's so fluky, he's not dependable. That's the only place where I'm playing Travis Hunter, these small setups where I don't need to stream a DB. I can just plug him in as a DB. You know what I mean? And that's the same thing Jamie said. So, JT said he's playing him in sleeper. That's the only place I'm playing him. To your
point, I need to do is I need to sit Trent McDuffie and put Travis Hunter in that spot over McDuffie, even though they're only a point apart from each other right now.
I would, because it's potential. You know what I mean? Me and you both can have a lottery ticket. We both can spend $1 on a lottery ticket, but you gave it to the old man down the street, and I went and turned mine in the Pennsylvania lottery. I have a better chance than that old man down the street giving you your money, just because it's wide receiver. JT needs to come on the show. Hunter should have 2 touchdowns last week. Bad throws cost him. Only played DB. Yeah, so again, if you can play a wide receiver there, it's a cheat code. But MFL, for context to your point, MFL, I'm playing with Gary. We have an IDP league championship. I have John Macri in that one. I have all these different brands. I have a lot of guys. Dan Cook. I don't know if you guys know Dan Cook, Mike Waller. There's a lot of guys. I think it's a 16-team all IDP tournament. Nobody has Travis Hunter. Nobody. And cornerbacks are dropping like flies. Kayla Moore, Taron Johnson, Darren Bland. Like, they're just dropping like flies, and nobody's picking up Hunter. To your point, you are absolutely correct. But there's that one exception to the rule. Me and JT covered this well on his show. When you can put him in that DB spot with the wide receiver, and all the top 10 DBs are already taken, then yeah, I'll do it. And then I don't have to roster a DB, so it's kind of neat. I do the same thing with Josh Metellus. I can play him at linebacker DB. I'll play him at DB and get a free linebacker. So
we are running a little bit long. We're almost hitting the hour mark, and okay. I'm gonna bring up my tight ends, but you guys need to stick around for my bets of the week. Trust me on this. So right now in tight end in shadow leagues, Hunter Henry, this dude's only 60% rostered. What are we doing, dude? He is one of the top 3 in targets for tight ends. Hunter Henry had a huge week 3, and he caught both of the New England touchdowns. And he saw 11 targets, caught 8 of them, 90 yards, all team highs right now. And he's going matchup against Carolina. That makes him a very nice start for week 4. So what are we doing? Get him on your roster. He should be owned in 100% of leagues. Then you go Chigakonkwo, 31% owned right now. He's been trending up as Cam Ward kind of settles in. We saw it in week 3. Okonkwo led the team with 5 catches on 6 targets for 66 yards. But now he faces a Texans defense that just allowed 9 catches to a tight end. So you have to start Okonkwo right now. My computer's about to die. My bad. Let me plug this in. But then we got Bretton Strange. Bretton Strange is definitely a streamer right now. He led the Jaguars in week 3 with 6 catches, 7 targets, 61 yards. He's connecting well with Trevor Lawrence, even though Trevor is struggling. But he faces the 49ers defense that allowed a tight end touchdown in each of the last 2 weeks. So feel comfortable starting him. And then here's a deep guy. Stash Olamide Gadsden.
Oh, nice. That's finally, in the chat, buddy. Level Up Low was asking you that.
The field. I have this guy in 18 of my dynasty leagues. 18 out of 29 dynasty leagues. He finally saw the field. Will Disley was out, and that really made an impact. He saw 7 targets, caught 5 catches for 46 yards. He only ran 28% of the routes, but was targeted on 47% of them. So that means when he's on the field, he's being targeted. He got 4 downfield looks and 2 red zone targets.
Yeah.
So with the Chargers leading the league in pass rate right now, Gaston has to be a sneaky streamer with upside in deep leagues. And if Disley sits again versus the Giants, you got to consider him. And also, doesn't have to be an instant starter. He could be a sneaky stash for future upside in deeper leagues because the targets are earned. We all know targets are earned, and he's earning those targets. And
yeah, JT's loving what you're saying about the Taylor and the Gadsden. JT actually said Gadsden was one of his favorite rookie stashes. He's got him in all his taxi squads. And then you had another.
Subconsciously, I listen to JT so much. Subconsciously, like in the back of my brain, maybe JT's the one that got me on Gaskin. I don't know.
And then you had another tight end question, Chig Komet, I think that is, or Mason Taylor. Do you have them ranked a certain way?
I would go Chig this week. I just mentioned Chig as a sneaky start. Mason Taylor, not right now. I love Mason Taylor in Dynasty, but not right now. We gotta wait.
Gotcha. You had some random questions too. Not to interrupt you. I just want to make sure I get them all.
Yeah, we're all. That was done. I'm done with my tight end. So let's get to these questions.
What do we do with Calvin Ridley? And in this follow-up question, Badger had Jesse Bandit. Thanks for joining us, buddy. What do you think about Pacheco? And that's actually my Kings Classic RB3. So I was going to ask you that offline too. What do you think about Pacheco going forward? Should I start him? So you got Pacheco, and then you got the other question there about Ridley. What are your thoughts, buddy?
Ridley, you got to be patient. He has a rookie quarterback that only had 3 starts. Give it some time. You can't drop Ridley, but you also can't start him right now. And it just seems like Cam Ward is going with his slot receiver, which is Alec Aomanor that I just brought up.
Yeah, earlier.
Right. So Ridley, he's going to get 1,000 yards. There's going to be positive regression later in the year. I would just base it off matchup. Now with Pacheco, we're about to get into it. I have a fun bet, but Pacheco is borderline droppable right now. He's not being used like we thought he was going to be used. So yeah, not a big fan of Pacheco. I would sell him. Even think about dropping him.
You had a compliment from Epic. He said, good call on holding Andrews last week. He managed to pop off that he trusted again or fade him in KC. This is going to be the last question. Anybody else has questions? Because we got to move on to bets quick. Any other questions? We'll just go back into the video and then we'll answer them from there. But what do you think about that, Jamie?
Andrews, he's going to be earning targets. I know Likely's coming back. So there's going to be a split between Andrews and Likely. But Andrews, I think, is going to be the main target. We saw it last year when Andrews was healthy. What was it, week 6 to 17? Andrews was the main guy. So with Likely coming back, I think you can go out and buy Andrews cheap with the narrative that Likely is coming back. And I think Andrew's is going to keep seeing targets.
Gotcha. Hey, buddy, moving on to bets. Just so you know, I have a couple bets. I got like 4 or 5 for you to throw in there. But go ahead. The floor is yours. What do you have for bets, my friend?
Man, so I'm going to start with Thursday night. Seahawks versus the Cardinals, right? You have to take the Seahawks money line. And I'm even willing to take Seahawks minus the 1.5 point spread.
Interesting.
It's going to happen. Then you got Kenneth Walker. He's going to score an anytime touchdown. Jackson Smith, Najigba. I'm taking the over on 6.5 receptions. And then I'm also taking Kyler Murray under 211.5 passing yards. And this is my lock of the week. Benson, Trey Benson. I know I talked about him as a pickup earlier in the running back segment, but this week is not going to be good. Benson under 59.5 rushing yards. And here's why. Because in week 1, CMC had 22 attempts and had 69 rushing yards. That's a 3.1 yard per carry for CMC. Week 2, Jalen Warren, 48 yards, 3.4 yards per carry. Week 3, Kamara, 18 attempts, 42 yards, 2.3 yards per carry. So what makes you think Cedric Benson is going to come in and get over 60 yards? It's not going to happen. So take the under. Going forward, we talked about this earlier with Pacheco. I alluded to it. Take the Kareem Hunt anytime touchdown because Hunt is drawing the goal line carries and faces a Ravens defense who is ranked 28th in red zone stop rate. So Hunt over Pacheco is trusted with short yard work, making him a great bet for an anytime touchdown. And then I brought him up earlier in the tight end section, Hunter Henry. these lines aren't out yet.
Yeah.
But take 40-plus yards for Hunter Henry because New England is facing a defense that's weak against tight ends. And injuries to that wide receiver core, Henry is set for a definite expanded role in that passing attack. So easily he's going to top 40-plus receiving yards. And then also, again, someone asked a question about Matthew Golden for the Packers. I'm taking 40-plus yards on Matthew Golden's receiving yards because Green Bay's rookie, Matthew Golden, has seen his role expand due to injuries to Jaden Reed and Christian Watson being out, with Green Bay playing a Dallas defense that's allowing the most yards to wide receivers. I'm expecting Golden to go way over 40 yards. It's going to be his breakout game. If you're feeling ballsy, take 100-plus. It might happen, it might not, but 40 is that line that I'm going over on. And then we got Bijan Robinson for the Falcons. He is going over 100 rushing and receiving yards combined. And you need to take his first half touchdown. Now listen, Bijan faces a Panthers defense that has allowed big yards to running backs, especially early in the game. So betting him to hit 100-plus combined yards and scoring a touchdown in the first half, that is elite. You need to go do that. Then we got Jonathan Taylor. I'm going his first quarter rushing yards. Now, it's not set yet. I'm guessing it's going to be between 15 to 20. But taking his over on the first quarter rush yards, he gets a matchup with the Rams, a defense ranked near the bottom for run stopping. He's been averaging over 25 rushing yards in the first quarter alone. So making any first quarter yardage prop for him is a must. You got to hit it. Hit it quick. And then finally, Jalen Hurts over his rushing yards for the first quarter or even the first half because he's facing Tampa Bay, which Tampa Bay has a crazy pass rush, but they're soft on the interior. And I expect Hurts to scramble early, making his first quarter or first half rushing lines a very sneaky value play. And that's all I have for my bets of the week.
So well done, Jamie. Well done. And shout out to all you guys listening. We love hearing this stuff. For IDP, this is a little bit of a tricky show. Jamie will tell you the prop bets aren't really out yet. So just hear my words, what I'm saying. Look for Mac Wilson. Mac Wilson has been pretty darn good. You know, top 11 tackles when he's starting to break out. So look for those bets if he's getting like 5 tackles, whatever. That's a sure thing. Mac Wilson to be somebody I'd be looking at. I'd be looking at Xavier Watts, the over and the under on Jesse Bates. And last but not least, if I wasn't taking any time sack, I'm going with, and this is tricky, I'm going with Aiden Hutchinson this week. I know he's got a foot injury. The Browns aren't too shabby against the run, against pass blocking and running in general. They're ranked like 13th, so they're middle of the pack. But Joe Flacco's a bit older. He's been getting sacked an average of 2 times a game. The left tackle position at the Browns is a bit shaky, and Aiden Hutchinson is top 3 in pass metrics. So these are all guesses. Just pay attention to lines when they come out. Sorry, we can't do any better. Those IDP bets take a minute. I do have 5 bets here, Jamie. Just games. I'm gonna run them by you and put your best thoughts to it because you know you're a good pro at this. My first pick, the Packers are getting 6.5 against the Cowboys at the Cowboys. I'm taking the Packers, obviously, even though 6.5, for 2 reasons. I think the Cowboys are terrible on defense, and I think they're gonna have to throw the ball. So I'm expecting a shootout. So I would take the Packers, and I would go the over if I could. Another game I'm looking at The Bears are an underdog. They're 1.5 underdog. I'm taking the Bears to win outright against the Raiders. I just think they're a better team. I'm not convinced of the Raiders. I'm not. My third bet, the Chargers only 5.5, negative 5.5 against the Giants. They're two completely different teams. It's a big difference. I believe it's Jackson Dart's going to be first game. So, yeah, I just feel like that's the lock of the week right there, the Chargers winning that. And then my last one here, Jamie, the Rams. I'm taking the Rams. They're 3.5 only over the Colts. I know they are going different directions. One's coming on win, one's coming up loss. But don't let the records fool you. I think the Rams are a much better team coming off that Eagles loss. That kind of stings. I don't see the Rams losing twice, and I see them beating the Colts handsomely. Those are my bets. Any thoughts on those bets?
So you mentioned the Raiders. They're going to lose because their coach has borderline dementia. He's so freaking old. He doesn't know what he's doing. He needs to get the hell out of there. You mentioned the Chargers. 100% the Chargers are going to win. And then what was your last one?
While I'm finding it, Drake May anytime turnover winner every week. That's Jeff again because he's a Patriot hater at this point. He doesn't gamble, but he's a Patriot hater.
Drake May's not going to turn it over that much, man, because he runs the ball a lot. He doesn't fumble. So I don't like that anytime turnover.
I gave you the Packers over the Cowboys, the Bears over the Raiders, the Chargers over the Giants, the Rams over the Colts.
Packers are going to come out with a vengeance because that game was fixed. They lost to the Browns. That was a fake win for the Browns. So I love that.
Disgruntled Patriots fan. JT's giving us a shout. Love the Bears pick.
The Bears pick is almost guaranteed. I would take the Bears 100%.
Jamie, do you have time for one more question? Just because I love this guy.
I got all time in the world for our fans, bro.
This guy's handle, and I believe the Packers are playing. This guy's handle is that's how you get tinnitus. And I think he's my new best friend, Jamie. That's how you get tinnitus. That's hysterical, dude. I wish I was clever enough to come up with a better handle than the IDP Hunter man, you know.
Wait a second. I got the same exact question.
Yeah.
On the Fantasy Six Pack show, but it was from the same guy.
Yeah, he wants to know
the same answer, man. This is hard, dude.
He wants to know if you're trading Bucky for Rome, and then his wide receivers are Pickens, Keenan, DT, RB1, Shaquan, Javonte Williams to replace him. He doesn't hear too good. His tinnitus is popping, so you're gonna have to yell this one.
So you have Saquon, you have Javonte, who would replace Bucky if you traded Bucky for Rome. Now, there is that whole pie that we talked about where Luther Burden's going to get eaten into that pie. So Rome, yes, everyone wants him right now. But there's a scenario where he could kind of maybe lose some value later because when Luther Burden starts getting more of those snaps, I think I said he had a 25% snap share. He had a big 18-point game. What if Burton gets 50% snaps? What if he gets 80% snaps? What if they trade DJ Moore and now it's Rome and Burden? Like, that's the best case scenario right there. So I'm going to say in a redraft, I'd rather have Bucky because you're playing him in your you're going to play Bucky. I believe what we got off the last stream, he would be more of a flex play. He's got Saquon.
Question though, because JT, my thoughts are racing too. JT wants to know, you think you can't get a little more for Bucky because he's not doing it for Rome straight up either.
Yeah, I'd rather have Bucky. And I mean, what else are you gonna get for in that trade though? You're gonna add a bench spot. That's not gonna help you though.
I'm all about sweeten the pot.
The value is so close.
Give me a pick.
Bucky and Rome.
Yeah.
That I would need more for Bucky, but what more are you going to get? What else? Like, does this guy have another receiver on his team that's better than Rome? Maybe go after that guy.
Yeah. There's players that are like, polarizing. There's ones I want, ones I don't want. There's some middle stuff going on. Like Breece Hall right now, I can't figure it out. Noah Mitchell, thanks for showing up in the chat. He had a question for you. Chuba or Breece for the rest of the season? What are you doing?
Oh, God.
No.
I'm actually going out and I'm trying to trade for Chuba right now in a dynasty league.
I like Chuba Dynasty. I was thinking that too.
Because I lost. He has that contract, and plus I just lost James Conner, who I basically got for free last year, and I'm a defending champ in that league. And so I need a number 2. I have Monty to plug in right now, but besides Monty in that league, I have Caleb Johnson, who's not ready to start yet. So I'm trying to go out and I'm trying to get Chuba Hubbard because I think he is going to be a valuable running back too. But Breece has that running back 1 upside.
Yeah.
He could be a top 5 every week. Oh, man. So this week, I don't have my weekly rankings set. I have a preliminary one, but I do a show on Sunday morning at Going for Two live.com on YouTube. And we answer our start sit questions. But right now, I would say go ahead and start Breece. Right now,
what's interesting?
Right now, Breece is in my top 12 for the week. But Hubbard is more around 19 to 20-ish.
So if I may, Jamie, if I may, I had to pull these numbers up, and this may factor in on your equation. Breece Hall, he always strikes me as a volume guy, whatever. He's getting a lot of good receiving yards. He's got four targets week 1, 3 targets week 2. Week 3, 6 targets, 4 caught, 31 yards. So maybe PPR value moving forward I might go Breece. Hall
I'm definitely going Breece.
Yeah.
It's closer than you'd think because, rest of the season, I would say Breece is around that running back 12 to 14.
I was shocked at the PPR side of it because I didn't expect it. But, yeah, I think you're right.
If I had to rank them right now, Breece would be between running back 12 to 14. But then Hubbard is in that 15 to 17 range. So they're close back to back in tiers, but Breece takes it right now. I would rather have Breece.
Mm-hmm. Just to close out the show, unless you have anything to say, there's a good point JT made, and then we're going to message JT when he wants to come on the show. But he was talking about your takes earlier about Roman Burden. He's like, hey, I had people about a week ago trying to get off Burden. Now all of a sudden, they want him back. So don't give up on these players just because we're in the moment, especially in Dynasty. That's how you win your leagues. Jamie, any thoughts there? And then lastly, tell the audience where they can find you.
You can find me right here on the IDP Center with Steve Hungarter, the number 3 overall IDP ranker in the world. I'm not an offensive ranker on paper, but I do it in my spare time, and it helps me win hundreds of championships. But you can also find me on the Going for Two on Tuesday nights. We do a live cheat sheet to get you ready for the week. And then Sunday mornings, you can find me doing start sit shows. So if you have a start sit decision, go to Going for Two live on YouTube, and we'll answer every single question that you have.
Hey, I don't mind going over, guys. We did an hour and 20 minutes, but we had so many different topics. So if you guys have questions, come back every week. All we are is an extension of one another. I appreciate you coming on, Jamie. Your bets have been amazing. You hit on everything last week. If everybody looks at my tweet, Jamie hit on everything. You just missed Tyreek Hill with the 50 yards. It was by one. That was impressive to me. So, the offense and defense shows there's none like that out here. And I can't figure out why people don't do this. But if you don't got anything else, follow Jamie. Follow me on the
one more thing. So exactly 21 years ago today, Oceanic Flight 815 crashed on that mysterious island. And remember, Lost, the #1 show in the world, basically just a long group therapy session with smoke monsters. People are still debating to this day, is that damn hatch really worth opening? So I want you guys to stay curious, stay caffeinated, and remember, the world might be messy right now, but your fantasy football takes don't have to be.
It's amazing that was 21 years ago. That's what Jeff just said. Isn't it amazing? 21 years ago thing. Yeah, I'm like reciting movies. I watched Mad Max Beyond Thunderdome the other day. I was enjoying it. It's like, dude, that's like our childhood here. So we're going on decades of just great knowledge. Hey, in the Fantasy and Frames chat, Jamie, on the Discord, they were talking. They're like, oh, I don't have time for a 2-hour movie. I go, but you watch a minute TikTok. Let me just cut it up into 120 TikToks. I got no laughs. Jorge laughed. I think that was about it. But yeah, you're right. That's a good note. We are all old. Be kind to each other. All we are is an extension of one another, buddies. Let's sign out. And again, guys, remember, talk hard. See you next week.